everybody, I'm Nikki.
And I'm obviously not Brian.
And she is
Cooking with a Coda.
So, as you can see, we have Melissa back with us again. We are making another gluten-free dish. And if you missed our last video we did together, we made homemade ramen, which turned out amazing. So she's gonna help me with another gluten-free recipe today.
We are going to go along with our Japanese-inspired dishes, and we're going to make mochi.
Mochi is a Japanese rice cake that is a delicious dessert. It can be served just as the dough itself. It could be wrapped around a sweet red bean paste. That's a very traditional dessert in Japanese culture. And it could also be a dough wrapped around ice cream, which is what we're gonna be doing today. So good, so many different flavors you can choose from, and we're excited to bring you this very simple recipe. All right, so all the ingredients we need for our mochi. The very first and most important ingredient is the sweet rice flour. This is a brand that I found at a local Asian mart that we have, but Mochiko is another really good brand that a lot of people would often use for mochi. Traditionally with mochi, it's made by steaming regular rice and then pounding it after it's been steamed into a mass. But we're using this powder just to make this process a whole lot easier. So this rice here will give us a chewy, smooth, and kind of elastic texture that we want for this mochi. So we have a little bit of sugar here that's gonna go into the dough as well, along with some water. We have our matcha green tea powder. This gives it such a good flavor. So we're gonna add that to one of the doughs that we make.
We might use plain for the other couple of ice cream flavors that we have, which are chocolate peanut butter and strawberry cheesecake. Now the strawberry cheesecake isn't gluten-free, so that one is for all of our friends who don't want to eat gluten-free. But the chocolate peanut butter and the green tea ice cream are both gluten-free, so I'll be able to enjoy them.
And finally, we have cornstarch. You can also use tapioca starch or potato starch, but cornstarch is what typically people keep on hand, so we're gonna use that today. I think it's time to get started. Line our cupcake tin with some cupcake liners, about 8, and we're gonna use a medium-sized cookie scoop. You could use an ice cream scoop, but typically they're larger, and we wanna make sure the mochi balls are fairly small, and we are just going to scoop out 8 of these balls so that they freeze in this form. All right, so we're just going to press this dough out to about like a 12 inches long by 6 inches, or maybe a little bit more wide. That way we can get about 8 squares. It'll be a little thicker in the center, so make sure you start in the center and press your way out. It is easier to work with when the dough is a little bit thicker. It doesn't break apart as easily. And this is gonna go straight into the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes just to harden it a little bit so it's easier to work with. All right, so these have been chilling for about 15 minutes or so. We're using a bowl scraper. You can use a bench scraper, a knife, a pizza cutter, whatever you prefer to cut. and we are going to cut these into 8s. And then I'm gonna grab one. I have like a rubber brush. If you have like a pastry brush or something else, all we're doing is just getting off the excess cornstarch, flipping it over, and we're gonna lay it on a plate. Melissa has saran wrap, and we're just gonna put a layer of saran wrap in between each square, just so that they don't stick together. Alrighty, so the dough has been in the freezer for close to 30 minutes, so it'll be nice and easy to work with. What makes this easier is putting the actual square in one of these cupcake liners. And then you're gonna grab one of your ice cream balls and put it right in the middle. From there, you're gonna just wrap the dough around the ice cream. You're gonna use the saran wrap and just squeeze it together and kind of twist it. And that's gonna keep that ball shape. And then you're just gonna stick it right on in that pan so that it'll stay in that nice form. And you gotta kind of work pretty quick here because of the ice cream, it can melt on you. And if you need to throw the already formed mochi in the freezer while you're doing the rest, that works too. And you see Melissa's holding it in her hand. That's another way you can do it to have more control over wrapping the mochi around the ice cream. And if you did make more than 8 dough squares, at this point it may be harder to get the dough all around the ice cream without it breaking. So that's why we kept it only at 8. So it was thicker, but had a better chance of covering the ice cream. All right, now these are gonna go back into the freezer. They're gonna firm up for about an hour and then they'll be ready to serve. All right, so this has been in the freezer for about an hour. And it's gonna unwrap it and use a sharp knife and just slice through the center. And you'll see that the ice cream is frozen, but the dough, if I squeeze it, it's a little soft, so it is palatable. So this is perfect. And just like that, our mochi is done. This is a super simple recipe that can definitely be modified to your liking. As you saw, we did a lot of different flavors of ice cream, but whatever ice cream you prefer, go for it. This is super versatile. And the dough is nice and sweet, but not too sweet to overpower the taste of the ice cream. So it's just the perfect combination. And it's perfect for gluten-free people, like this one. So we hope that you enjoyed watching this video today and that you have a little bit of confidence to make this mochi at home.
Like and subscribe and comment down below if you have any ideas for recipes that you'd like Nikki and Brian to try out next time. Bye!